Picture this. You're in East Africa 300,000 years ago. The sun is relentless. The ground is cracked. The air is dry enough to split your lips in seconds. And every single human being on this planet has deep, dark, rich, melanated skin. Every single one. No exceptions. Now, fast forward 100,000 years. A small group, maybe 150 people, walks north, then keeps walking through the Middle East, through Central Asia, into Europe, into cold gray skies and winters that last 6 months. And something starts happening to their skin. Slowly, invisibly, over thousands of years, it gets lighter, then lighter. Light enough that you can see their veins through it. How does that happen? Not by choice, not overnight, not by accident. This is driven by one of the most ruthless selection processes in human evolutionary history, and the mechanism behind it might change how you think about race, biology, and what your own skin is doing right now. Let's pause and go back to Africa, because this is where the story begins. Dark skin exists for one reason. The sun is trying to harm you. Ultraviolet radiation, specifically UVB rays, destroys folate, a B vitamin so critical to human reproduction that without it, pregnancies fail, spinal defects spike, and infant mortality explodes. Melanin is the shield. The more melanin you have, the more UV your skin absorbs before it reaches your folate in your bloodstream. In equatorial Africa, where UV radiation is among the highest on Earth year-round, dark skin isn't just an advantage. It's the difference between having children and not. Ancient humans with lighter skin in that environment didn't survive long enough to pass it on. Natural selection is that simple and that brutal. But here's where it gets more layered. Sunlight doesn't just destroy things, it builds them too. When UVB hits your skin, it triggers the synthesis of vitamin D. And vitamin D is not optional. It regulates calcium absorption, which means bones. It supports immune function, which means surviving infections. It regulates over 200 genes in the human body. Without it, children develop rickets, immune systems collapse, fertility drops. In East Africa, dark skin blocks enough UV to protect folate, but not so much that it blocks vitamin D production. The sun is so intense that even through dense melanin, enough UVB gets through to synthesize what the body needs. Perfect balance, perfectly calibrated by millions of years of evolution. Then, the migration happened. Here's where it gets more layered. When humans moved north, the sun changed, not in intensity, but in angle. At northern latitudes, sunlight hits the Earth obliquely. The atmosphere filters out more UVB. Winter means months where UVB levels drop to near zero. In northern Europe, the sun is simply not strong enough for dark skin to synthesize adequate vitamin D. Not in autumn, not in winter, barely in spring. Dark skin, the same skin that was life-saving in Africa, suddenly became a liability. People with more melanin synthesized less vitamin D. Their children's bones didn't form correctly. Their immune system struggled. Their reproduction rates fell. And people with genetic mutations that reduced melanin production, they got sick less. Their children survived more. They reproduced more successfully. Within a few thousand generations, which sounds like forever but is a blink in evolutionary time, those mutations spread through the population, not because lighter skin was superior, but because in that specific environment, with that specific sun, at that specific latitude, it was the difference between surviving winter and not. Now here's the part most people get completely wrong. The mutation that produces lighter skin in Europeans, it didn't happen slowly over hundreds of thousands of years. It happened fast, startlingly fast. Geneticist Ian Matheson and his team at Harvard analyzed ancient DNA from European human remains and found something that rewrote the textbooks. The major gene responsible for lighter European skin, SLC24A5, spread through European populations approximately 8,000 years ago. Not 10,000 years ago, not 50,000 years ago, 8,000 years ago.
which means the people who built the first European settlements, who painted the caves at Lascaux, who lived in Europe for tens of thousands of years before that, were significantly darker than the Europeans of today. The white European is not an ancient identity. It is a recent biological adaptation, one of the fastest evolutionary changes ever documented in the human genome. And it didn't just happen once.
This is the part that completely breaks the simple narrative. East Asians develop lighter skin independently through completely different genetic mutations. Same environmental pressure, less sunlight, need more vitamin D, completely different biological solution. Convergent evolution. Two separate populations facing the same problem and arriving at similar answers through entirely different paths. Which means lighter skin is not one thing. It's not one gene, one mutation, one event. It's dozens of separate experiments that evolution ran simultaneously across different human populations over thousands of years. Every shade of human skin on Earth today is a different answer to the same question. How much sun is hitting me right now? Here's what this means for you. Your skin, whatever color it is not an identity. It's a report card, a biological document recording where your ancestors lived, how much sun they survived, what threats they faced, and how their bodies adapted to keep them alive long enough to produce you. Dark skin says, my ancestors lived close to the equator, where the sun was trying to destroy their DNA, and melanin was the only thing standing between them and extinction. Light skin says, my ancestors moved somewhere the sun barely reached, where the same melanin that protected their ancestors was now blocking the only vitamin keeping their children's bones from collapsing. Neither is stronger, neither is better, neither is more evolved. They are both perfect answers to completely different questions. And the fact that humans look different from each other is not evidence of division, it's evidence of adaptation. It means we went everywhere, survived everything, figured out how to live in every climate, every altitude, every corner of a planet that was actively trying to challenge us. Your skin is not where you're from. It's proof of what your ancestors survived to get here. And that, whatever color it comes in, is remarkable. Thanks for listening. This is Chillstix. Stay curious, stay calm.